You're listening to Four Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast.
Today is Wednesday, April 15th. I'm Maria Lizignoli.
I'm Johnny Connor. Thanks for listening to Four Things to Know.
Our top story today. Lawmakers at the state capitol are searching for solutions, trying to lend a hand to Hennepin Healthcare before it's too late. The county-owned health provider says it's losing more than $100 million to patients who can't pay. WCCO's Adam Duxter has more from the Capitol. He heard two potential solutions that lawmakers are putting forward.
And the one thing that seems to be a consensus is that something needs to be done to help HCMC. They say rising costs for equipment as well as labor, and then, of course, the increase in what they call uncompensated care has them facing more than a $50 million budget deficit, and that is for just this year alone. And they say with changes coming to Medicaid here in the coming year, that number is only expected to grow. And now, of course, we have those two potential solutions laid out and created by our state lawmakers to try and make a dent in that number. And the first we heard today was expanding on a countywide sales tax that was initially created to pay for Target Field. And lawmakers want to jack up that tax from less than 0.25% to 1% of every dollar spent countywide. State Department of Revenue says had this been in place last year, it would have generated $337 million. The other idea heard today was to create a statewide hospital stabilization program. Under this, all hospitals could apply for state assistance, and this bill would create what it calls a stabilization grant for HCMC to get things back on track. Today, leaders from hospitals across the metro say something needs to happen.
But there's only so much we can do. There's no way that we can cut ourselves out of this problem. HCMC and Robbinsdale are lifelines for real people, families who need emergency care, seniors managing chronic illness, patients who don't have the luxury of waiting or traveling further. That's why public funding really matters and why it's important that we have to recognize the strain on all hospitals.
Both of these potential solutions are still just bills. There's a ways to go and plenty of conversations and things that need to get hashed out before the end of session for them to even get to a vote. But of course, HCMC and the folks involved with that say something needs to happen.
Number two today, Minnesota lawmakers are taking a look at a new kind of health treatment, psychedelic mushrooms. Specifically, the psychoactive compound in the mushrooms called psilocybin. A proposal at the Capitol would create a state-run program allowing adults 21 and older with conditions like PTSD, depression, or addiction to use psilocybin, but only under medical supervision. Patients would need a doctor's approval and would go through guided sessions with a trained facilitator at a licensed treatment center. The state would tightly regulate everything, from how the drug is grown and tested to how it's administered. And it would be limited to about 1,000 patients during an initial 3-year pilot phase. If approved, enrollment would not begin until at least 2028. The House Veterans and Military Affairs Committee discussed the program this morning, and we heard from Dr. Jessica Nielsen, who is a chair on the Psychedelic Medicine Task Force.
People are not well. Currently available therapies don't work for everyone, and options that are available can be prohibitive depending on levels of access, insurance coverage, and availability of adequately trained therapists. Clinicians are frustrated about the limited tools at their disposal to help their patients heal. We need more options and tools in the toolkit. I personally know 6 people who have taken their own life over the past year, 2 of whom were veterans. I can't help but wonder if their lives could have been saved if there were more effective options for them to access, especially when a viable alternative with psilocybin mushrooms is widely available, yet currently illegal to access.
Number 3 today. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey is getting some national recognition. He landed on Time Magazine's list of 100 most influential people of 2026. The honor highlights Frey's leadership during a pretty turbulent stretch for Minneapolis, including the pandemic, the fallout from the murder of George Floyd, and now a major federal immigration crackdown. Time points to Frey's role navigating what's been called an unprecedented federal presence in the city, with thousands of agents deployed, sparking protests and tension. Time writes about how he famously told federal agents to leave.
Get the out of Minneapolis.
Frey said that in a press conference the day Renee Good was shot and killed by an ICE agent. In response to the Time article, Mayor Frey said, quote, I'm grateful to receive this recognition from Time, but I know this honor belongs to our entire city. It belongs to the thousands of Minneapolis residents who showed up day after day to protect and support their neighbors and defend our democracy. Being mayor of this city is a profound honor, and I look forward to using any influence I have to serve the city I love.
And your fourth thing to know today, we are hearing from a Minnesota soldier recovering from a deadly attack at the start of the war. He talked to us about the moment a drone hit his base in Kuwait.
When I got hit, I didn't know if I was going to be alive or dead. I remember losing consciousness and then waking up a day or two later in the hospital. And just instantly it came over me that, God's the one that I had the hand of God on me.
Sergeant Cory Hicks says before last month's attack, he prayed that he'd make it back home to see his kids. The Princeton soldier is still in the hospital, healing from shrapnel to his face, a lacerated kidney, a severed spleen, and a traumatic brain injury. 6 of his fellow soldiers did not survive that attack, including Master Sergeant Nicole Amer of White Bear Lake. Those are the 4 things to know today. Now let's check in on our next weather forecast.
Hi, meteorologist Joseph Dames. Taking a look at your Wednesday forecast. Today, highs topping off right around the upper 60s, mid 60s where it's a little cloudier, and that's a possibility this afternoon as clouds are expected to move on through. Later tonight, 40s, some clear skies, and boy, we warm up for our Thursday. High temperatures for our Thursday in the upper 70s, and some folks pushing 80.
And now, here's more to know.
New charges in a deadly wrong-way crash over the weekend in Eden Prairie. Those charges say Amanda Merriman told troopers, quote, she had consumed 2 vodka cranberry drinks before driving. And she says she didn't know she was going the wrong way. The test results of her blood sample are still pending. Her license was revoked because of a DWI back in 2024. She was also on probation for possessing methamphetamine at the time of the crash. And law enforcement found a glass pipe and a bag of marijuana in her car, according to the charges. The crash happened in Eden Prairie Saturday night. Bowdon Antonyuk died after the head-on collision. Now, his daughter, Roxalana, tells us he had come here just a couple of years ago to escape the war in Ukraine.
He came here and lived with me and my family, and he wanted to run away from the war because the bomb exploded not too far from his house. And he also wanted to spend time with me and with his grandchildren.
Antonyuk had a flight scheduled for the end of July to return back to Ukraine after his 2-year refugee visa was set to expire. His daughter says she's now navigating a mountain of paperwork to get her father's remains back to Ukraine.
Minneapolis police say a 71-year-old man died after being punched by his neighbor. Police say the assault took place a week and a half ago in an apartment building on the 300 block of Hennepin Avenue. The victim was found unconscious in the hallway. He was then transported to HCMC, where he died this week. Police say they looked at surveillance video and saw a man punch the victim following a brief argument. Police then arrested the 61-year-old man. He lives in that same apartment building.
Now to some tense moments between your lawmakers. Democratic Senator John Hoffman called out his Republican colleague, Senator Glenn Gruenhagen, during a committee hearing Monday. This is after Gruenhagen used the word illegals to describe people who are not U.S. citizens.
How many illegals are on Medicaid? Do you know?
And Glenn, Senator Gruenhagen, please, when we dehumanize...
Well, it's not the... Stop. I was shot 9 times because I was dehumanized. I was shot 9 times because we allowed somebody to dehumanize human beings. I almost died twice, Glenn. Yeah. So I ask you once, please, do not say illegal in this committee because it dehumanizes an individual.
Senator Hoffman was referring to last summer's politically motivated attack. A man impersonating a police officer shot Hoffman and his wife. That gunman is also accused of killing former House Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband, Mark.
Construction begins in June at 38th in Chicago, 6 years after George Floyd was murdered there. Last night at the Phelps Recreation Center, there was an open house so the community could learn more about the road closures and detours that will happen during construction. They also got to see renderings of what George Floyd Square will look like when it's re-envisioned. Adam Haler is an engineer with the city, and he spoke about their future vision.
These two streets, 38th Street and Chicago Avenue, was last reconstructed over 60 years ago. We'll be doing a new pavement, new sidewalk, new pedestrian level street lighting will be installed. There will be a new off-street bike facility added on this project. We are also preserving and dedicating a memorial art space within the city right-of-way with this project. And also we're restoring the Metro D-Line route, D-Line as well as Route 5 transit service back to Chicago Avenue.
The city says most of its construction work should be done by the end of next year.
One of the most recognizable buildings in downtown Minneapolis is facing foreclosure. Deutsche Bank is suing the owners of the Fauché Tower. The lawsuit claims the owners defaulted on their mortgage and owe the bank more than $40 million. The Fauché is nearly a century old and was the tallest tower in Minneapolis for decades. Its observation deck on the 31st floor has been a popular spot for visitors. The tower also houses the W Minneapolis Hotel and a few restaurants. Johnny, have you ever been on the observation deck?
A long time ago. It's a cool spot up there, too. I think there's a bar up there now and whatnot.
Yeah.
And the Fauché Tower, obviously so iconic here, right?
In the skyline, for sure. I've never been into it, but I guess I should probably check it out soon.
Well,
Who knows?
Yeah, the W's there. Manny's restaurant right next to it, too. The steakhouse. So there's a lot going on there. And hopefully they can figure it out because it is iconic.
It is.
Let's talk sports, Maria. Today, the Lynx introduced their new draft pick, Olivia Miles. We've talked about her the last couple days. She's getting to know her new team now. And after she was chosen second overall, she actually said that she'd never even been to Minnesota before.
That's funny. It is kind of wild getting chosen for a job and you just have to move there.
You just got to move there. Yeah. Hopefully she's ready for the winter. But we still got some time before that. But she's 5'10", a guard from TCU. She actually played for Notre Dame prior to that. Grew up in Jersey, so she's been in the cold weather before. And today she was actually asked what her first impression of Minnesota was like.
It's a little chilly. Reminds me of Jersey a little bit. But it's cool. I heard there's like every sports team you could imagine here. So I'm excited to get to know that. But yeah, it's just a cool city. I love where we live. I haven't seen the arena yet. Hopefully I'll get to a Wolves game soon or get to see the arena soon. But yeah, cool city for sure. Good culture.
I was also listening in on it, Johnny, and she was saying that she, outside of basketball, is a big nature girly.
Okay.
Loves going on walks. I think she's really going to love the Minnesota summers, at least.
That's so funny. Yeah, welcome to Minnesota. And speaking of the Lynx, Maria, they are going to give a local a shot to make the team as well. Gophers Amaya Battle.
Oh, yes.
She agreed to a free agent camp tryout. Now, she just finished her career 2 weeks ago with the Gophers. Remember, they made it to the Sweet 16, and Battle went to Hopkins High School. So that would be so fun if she made the team.
You love when a local makes the local professional team. It's just the coolest thing. So, yeah, that would be awesome. Amaya Battle.
And last thing in sports today, the Twins, they're red hot 4 in a row now. They just can't lose.
Wow.
They're looking to sweep the Red Sox this afternoon at Target Field. They've outscored Boston so far 19-6 in the 2 games.
Love that for them.
It's time to take a breath with your Daily Bright Spot.
All right, this bright spot feels very state fair coded, okay? Pabst Blue Ribbon, the beer company.
Of course, I know that.
And Grillo's Pickles, the pickle company. Famous pickles at, I think they sell them at Costco.
Oh, the big jar?
The big jar
Sure.
is so good. Well, they're pairing up. They're creating a pickle-flavored beer.
Now, we need to get this out of the state fair. I mean, pickle pizza, you can get pickle anything out there. Fried pickles.
100%. In fact, I did try a pickle beer at the state fair last year.
They already have that?
It wasn't a past. Yeah,
Wow.
no, yeah. It's already out there.
Because you're a pickle. You love pickles. I mean, I remember talking to you
pickles.
last year. You're like, pickle pizza, I can't wait to get out there.
Yeah, exactly. How do you feel about pickle beer?
I mean, I will give it a shot. Honestly, I like pickles as like, I'll have them on my burger.
Sure.
Or like on the pizza, but as a feature-y menu item, probably not, but like I'll try it.
Of course. Hopefully it's a subtle pickle.
It should be a subtle pickle.
I guess we'll have to try it. It's going to be available next month at places like Walmart and Quick Trip.
Okay, and I do like Pabst, so it's like cheap, crappy beer, but it's like American, whatever.
Right, exactly. It's Midwestern. I think it's Milwaukee brand.
I think you're right.
Yeah. So, hey, You can't go wrong. And I guess the companies have been working on this collaboration for a while, so they're pretty excited to see it come to life. So am I.
We got to get it for the Super Bowl or something. That feels like a good day to have pickle beer, you know?
Yes. Or like a barbecue.
Yeah.
Doesn't that sound great?
Hot day outside.
A hot dog and a pickle beer. I'm into it.
Get it at Target Field.
Yeah, let's go. Okay, so it's going to be nice out today. Maybe grab yourself your own beer and throw a pickle in it. I don't know. Have fun. Thanks for joining us here on 4 Things to Know with Johnny Connor. I'm Maria Lizignoli, and we're here with the news you need every weekday afternoon by 3 o'clock.
Listen to 4 Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
Love podcasts? Love Minnesota?
Check out the WCCO podcast studio lineup.
Hear the top stories of the day with 4 Things to Know.
Discover top female athletes and teams from around the state on women in sports.
Dive into stories about faith and belief, from your local leaders to your neighbors next door, with bigger than belief.
Stay in the know on the go with the WCCO podcast studio. Go to WCCO.com/podcasts.